You're listening to Foxx on the Wire!
All right, welcome everybody to a very special episode of Foxx on the Wire. The first for the year 2023, in fact. Hoping to have a big year on the podcast here, and we're getting off to a massive start here tonight. We've flown all the way across the oceans to speak with Attila Voros from Hungary. Hi Attila, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Hi, Craig there, and wishing you indeed a bigger year, man. It's super cool that you've been doing here, and yeah, I can only wish you the best with this. It might be an overstatement that I'm a big thing here, but yeah, it's definitely cool to be here and part of it.
Thank you, and right back at you. All the success to yourself as well. And you better correct me with your name there. I knew I would have stuffed up your surname. How do you pronounce your name?
No, it was kind of close actually. So it's Voros.
Okay.
Voros.
Cool.
Well, Voros is the way that people use actually, like foreigners.
Cool. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you. I've been speaking like the last week or two since we sort of found out you were coming on with my girlfriend. I'm like, she knows how excited I am just to talk about Pantera and all the things, because there's not a heap of people that you can talk to about this stuff. And so just a little backstory for me, how I sort of came across you. So I guess in short, in the last sort of 12 to 18 months, I've sort of got heavily back into playing sort of heavy guitars. I've been doing the whole acoustic thing for the last 10 years, and I still love that. But, you know, I grew up on hard rock and playing in hard rock bands, and when the last one broke up about 10 years ago, I just had enough. Couldn't bear to start another band, and I just sort of went the acoustic way. And I listened to all my favourite heavy bands all that way through, but just in the last 12 to 18 months, I don't know what sparked it, but I've just had this hunger to get back into playing heavy guitar and really learning how to play all that stuff that I never took the time to play, you know, all the Metallica, all the Pantera stuff. I just didn't have the patience when I was younger. I guess I was into writing more, so that was kind of my excuse. So, yeah, as I've discovered in the last year or so, you know, learning the Pantera and the Metallica stuff isn't easy. And we have the benefit of YouTube, you know, looking up people on YouTube. So I came across Ola England. You know, he's got lots of great videos. And somewhere along the line there, I stumbled across yourself and your awesome YouTube channel full of just so many good videos that help people like myself. So yeah, I became a fan, and I still follow you, and I still look up all the songs that I'm learning to play. What am I learning at the moment? Primal Concrete Sledge. So you've been helping me with that one. Thank you very much. So yeah, tell us about that's my sort of introduction to you. Tell us about your YouTube channel and sort of how you got, or what inspired you to put all these great videos together.
Well, thank you very much, man, for the kind feedback. It really means a lot, and it gave me a chance to look back actually while you were talking to me. That it's a weird feeling to know that it actually reaches people and you know, give them joy and help in any ways. And the background of how I really started getting a little more, I would say, serious about the YouTube channel goes back after playing the Dimebash 2020. Because prior to that, I also uploaded some videos like every once in a while, but nothing really serious and intentional. I was just putting up, you know, some stuff with my Pantera tribute band and some other things that I've done. But after playing there, it just before actually the COVID hit in, like I felt that I wanted to do something like this. because it was just an amazing experience to be a part of that thing. And I don't know, I just it just felt right to do, something for myself, because prior to that I was touring with some bands, and it kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, I needed some time off and just do something for myself, and this one has always been in the back of my head. So I don't know if it all made sense, but this is kind of how I started the channel.
Cool. Well, and the way you sort of teach as well, because that stuff's, it's hard to play, and unless you've been playing it for years, it's tricky. I don't know what else to say, especially the Pantera stuff. And I've just found your videos in particular just because you do the tutorial videos, but you also do other videos where you're just, I think you call them the living room jams and that sort of thing, where you just actually play the entirety of the song through. And it's, I don't know, I guess it just helps watching someone else do it. Obviously we watch, music videos and live videos of Dime doing it, but it's generally not just
close.
fixated on him. Although the cool thing is he actually did a few of those videos, tutorial videos, didn't he?
Yes.
Do you think if he was still with us today, he'd be a massive YouTuber, wouldn't he?
Probably, yes. Yeah, I would think so. He would definitely do something funny.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but my teenage years and in my 20s, many nights consisted of getting drunk and watching the Pantera home videos. It was
VHS, right?
Yeah. It's just nothing better.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you sort of look back now and not everyone was carrying around a video camera like Dime was, and it's just priceless. We sort of take that for granted sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a fun little thing, because I grew up watching that thing. Like, I don't know how many times, it's more than 100 times I've seen the third one. And of course, I've done a lot of stupid shit because of that. I mean, because of me, but the influence was definitely coming from there. But I never really kind of understood why I didn't see that much of Dime in the videos. And then later it turned out, from the stories I heard, that it was him who was filming a lot, and he was making people do all this shitty stuff because he was just bored and just wanted to make fun times. It's just I don't know. It just, everything just adds to the story on a positive, and just it always feels that it cannot be better, and it always just gets better with him. I don't know. There's just nothing really negative from his camp. It's amazing.
Yeah, and like he was, you hear other people talk like Vinny and some of the roadies and that, like he was all about the fans, and even if he was hungover as hell, which I would assume would be most days, he'd still take the time to sign autographs and stuff like that. And the craziness in those videos, I think his playing was just an extension of his personality. Like he's
you
playing.
You mean he's playing how he was playing that? Yeah. Yeah, he was so full of life on every level, and it just shone everywhere. Whatever he did, it was just full of life and joy, for sure.
Yeah, he's left us with just an amazing amount of great music, great memories. And I've sort of just outlived him now. Like he was about 38, I think, when he died, and like I'm almost 40, and I can't believe that. I've outlived him. The same happened with Kurt Cobain when I turned 27. I'm like, fuck, they did all these things, all this success by this age. And, but yeah, you mentioned the Dimebash back in 2020, just before the COVID hit. I was actually watching that the other night. I'd watched it before, and I saw you on it, and then I think I was watching one of those vlogs that Ola did, which included, is it Nam or one of the guitar?
like exhibition, or I don't know what's the word for that. Yes,
Yeah, I think it's NAMM or
NAMM
anyway,
show.
yeah. And it included footage of the Dimebash because he played there too.
Yeah.
And you guys actually
Yes.
played on the same song, which is even
Yeah,
cooler.
yeah, yeah. Actually, 2 songs we played together.
It was what was the Pantera song you played?
The Panther song we didn't play together. I played. Oh my god, I was gonna say it really fast. Jesus.
I think I've lost it. So, well, you played Sepultura Roots.
Yeah, I played Roots and Refuse Resist, which Refuse was my like the first really heavy metal song which I've heard. I mean, I was listening to Exploited and Clawfinger and stuff like that before, but that was like the big heavy groovy with the growling one. And from that, the next jump was Pantera for me. And Refuse Resist, like the Chaos album, is the Sepultura album for me. So getting the chance to play that with Derek and all the other guys for that lineup, it was just ridiculous for me. But I also actually, so now I don't remember, but I played Cowboys, which was like, it was super funny. There was a rehearsal before the show day, and some of the musicians couldn't make it on time. So I actually filled in for some songs. So originally I was gonna play like 4 songs altogether, 2 Kiss songs, 2 Sepultura songs, and maybe 1 Pantera. So yeah, 5 songs, which is in itself a lot. But then after the rehearsal, it turned out to be like 6. And then on the day of the show was actually already running. And I was just having a blast. I felt like I was at peace in a super amazing place. And I came out of the dressing room, and Ola from downstairs was pointing at me that he should be the guy. He should be playing it while the show was running. And when I got down, he told me, they asked me if I want to join to play Cowboys because the other guitar players didn't make it and they were looking for someone to fill in. I was like, sure. So I played Cowboys with Gene Hoglan and his girlfriend, and I don't know who else, but it was just it's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Amazing experience.
Didn't Dave Grohl make an appearance in Roots when you were playing Roots? He came out and
that was another really fun one. We didn't know about the fact that in Roots they invited all the drummers on stage. I didn't know about it. Apparently, Ola didn't know it because we were looking at each other like, what's happening? All of a sudden, like a drummer start to put on their toms and whatnot. And apparently Dave was there too. I didn't even see him coming up on stage. There's so many people. But yeah.
And you had one of the best drummers there too, Roy Mayorga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how he pronounces his name, but yes, super, super nice guy and an amazing drummer. It's just very groovy. It was like an instant click to play with him.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those drummers that are really good to watch. Watch them do their thing.
Yeah, good energy. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, just
and also as a guy, he was just super, super nice.
Yeah, no, that was quite the gig. I can only imagine what it would have been like playing there. So, was that your first trip to the States, or had you toured there with some of your other bands before that?
No, I've been to the States quite many times, I'd say. I was actually also touring there with 2 bands. The first time I was touring there with Nevermore back in 2011. And I also toured there later with Satyricon once. And I also studied for 1 semester in Los Angeles at the Musicians Institute.
Oh, cool.
So I've been there before. But this Dimebash thing was definitely like
absolutely
high top on the list.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos that were being taken backstage, and just all the faces that were there, and I guess just being able to be there in the memory of Dime just would have been something else.
Yeah, it was quite an amazing experience, and so actually by the time I got to make it there, It for me it was the perfect timing because I think if I would have played there earlier, I would have been like super stoked and just all over the place and didn't really experience the thing. But by the time I got there, it felt like it's just these are just other people, the same like the same people like us. And we've been doing like Dimebag tribute shows for 18 years now, and it's always like 50 some guests showing up there, and the vibe was very similar to that. It's just really well-known musicians instead of underground musicians from Hungary, but the vibe was the same. And to me, it was better to have like normal conversations with normal people instead of being a fanboy and just closing them out to being able to have a nice chat with each other. So in that sense, that was amazing. And I also had my birthday on the day of the show.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which was super cool.
Wow.
I'm super bad at names, but it was actually introduced. It was told to the crowd that I had a birthday. So Derek Green from Sepultura was like high-fiving me, and I was like,
wow.
That's just fucking cool.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us about the Pantera tribute band that you're in.
Yeah. So it started out actually with a different name in 2006. At the time, our then drummer and bass player, we were attending to the same music school, like a local music school in Hungary, Budapest, and. I don't know. I think we were just with the drummer. We were talking about Pantera or something, and then we were just like, "Hey, let's get into one of the rehearsal rooms and play something." And we played New Level, and it was like, "This is fucking awesome." so we decided to do something, and the original plan was to play some Pantera songs, play some shows with Pantera songs, and then make our own band and like open for us with the Pantera tribute or for the Pantera tribute band, and then play the Pantera set. And that turned out to be Remembering the Steel, which was the first Pantera tribute band that I had, which then later became Vulgar Display of Cover, with some members changing and with some hiatus in between the two bands. So that was founded, I guess, in 2010, I think, if I remember. It's years have been flying so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's since 2010, I think the band is going under the name Vulgar Display of Cover.
Cool. And do you just sort of play? Do you tour with that, or do you sort of play locally around Hungary, or?
Mainly locally. We had like one-off shows like nearby, like in foreign countries. We're doing like one or two festivals a little further. This year, actually, we're playing in Norway at the Karmoigeddon Festival, which was gonna actually happen last year, but I broke my wrist. This one, which is now under a healing process again. It's the same injury.
Wow.
We can talk about this later, but it's gonna be fine. So, I mean, I've always wanted to push this band ever since it existed further and play more. But it's just I never really got into the flow where everybody was on board to push this like as far as we could, and I was kind of alone in that. So it turned out to be like more of a hobby band. So we play like a couple shows per year, and mainly in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
It would be nice to push it further again, but it has to be like a team effort.
Yeah, I think when I was checking out your channel, I think you've got some live clips up there of that. Yeah, which I was, blown away because, that's to match it vocally, musically with the guitar. It's not easy, And I'm just curious, like, do you play those songs in the tunings same tunings that Pantera played in, or
we started in with Remembering the Steel in C standard, because at the time, I mean, I knew it was off and I could tune it for myself, but I was like, I don't know what is this. It's just it was easier to play it in C sharp. And then at some point we started. Maybe it was already with Vulgar. We started to play it I didn't know at the time what was the tuning. We just find it and marked it on the actual tuner pedals, and that was actually a big change for me. At least it felt like, okay, this was a missing piece for sure. So yeah, it was a great addition, and ever since that we're always tuned to that. Like it's the 425 hertz. Apparently.
Yes, and I want to thank you for that, because I was checking out your videos explaining the tunings, how Dimebag sort of tuned his guitars, and you made that sort of little chart, for the 425 hertz, the 435, and that sort of thing. So I've got that on my desktop, and that's why I've got a few different guitars here, because they're all in different tunings, and you know, I'm always into different tunings anyway, but that's even more different again. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I really wish I knew what, like, the real reasons behind, because there's like stories like, they just tuned down until it sounded right for them. I don't know, but it would be just nice to hear some more specific stories. But maybe it's just it stays the magic part about this. Like, we will never know.
Yeah, it is interesting, because I mean, it's well, I guess there is a big difference between standard E and E flat, and then I think his 425 or 435 hertz is somewhere in between there. There's not.
I don't know. It's just it's the uniqueness is just on so many levels. They were unique from the beginning almost. It's insane. These nuances, and they add up, I think, for sure.
So we have to talk about it. What are your thoughts on the reunion? I don't like to say reunion because it's not a reunion. The re-emergence of the band playing under the name Pantera. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about it?
To me, it's I mean, I follow this from the very beginning. And, I think it's something that was inevitable, and it's not in a bad or a good way. It's just, I think it's more of in a good way for me, at least. And I was really, really happy to see that Charlie was going to be the drummer. And, Zakk was like the obvious choice for sure. So the lineup totally makes sense to me. And I think even after the first show, they exceeded all the expectations. And I can see the improvement. I was going to do, and I will do like a reaction or this kind of video on the whole thing. There's definitely a lot of emotions going on, for everyone, which is a good thing. It means that, it means a lot for the fans and for the people. And I think I can understand, I try to understand the other perspectives, like from Phil and Rex's perspective. Like Phil, it's kind of known that he's been wanting to do this forever. And to me, it wasn't surprising, and it made total sense that he started to play first with the Illegals once Vinny passed away. And I don't think it was a disrespectful thing. I think it was just, something that they've been bugged and asked about like for years to do this, and it was always like a no from Vinny. Everybody knew that, and I think it was in some sense sort of a relief for him that, okay, now we can do it. It doesn't hurt directly someone anymore, and I don't think this is selfish in any sense, and I think the production is amazing. It has the essence of the Pantera look, but it's new, it's fresh. So to me, it feels very like genuine, which is an amazing thing. The way Charlie prepared himself is extremely, extremely well and amazing. The nuances, like the slowing down part, like the end of the bars and the tempo changes. You could tell that he spent a lot of time working on this, which is an amazing thing again. And and I was giving a lot of thought on how Zakk approached after hearing him the first time, because I had some expectations, and I think I feel that even Zakk was like better than how I expected it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was gonna deliver, or but I think he's even better than I thought he was gonna be, because it's I mean, just practically, if you're Zakk Wylde and you're like well known for 40 years for your kind of playing, and everybody knows how good you are, and you I'm lucky enough to play in a lot of bands, and I get to play in a lot of people's style. So I know how it feels to get into someone's head and working on the phrasings and the feel, and playing in Zakk's style or Dime style is there's a lot of differences with the timings and with the just the sharpness of Dime. With Dime it was a lot of looseness with a lot of stiffness also. So it's a combination of everything. Whereas Zakk is more of a rock and like a Guns N' Roses kind of dirty player. So it requires years, I think, to improve. And it's I mean, I've been doing this for so many years, and I cannot watch my old videos. They were so shitty. I learned a lot from just the recent years. So I don't think it's fair to expect from him to do, exactly how, or almost exactly like Dime played. It's just not. It's not fair, and it's not even possible. And I don't think that anyone in his close camp would tell him to do that. So it's like, hey, you can be better than that. So why would they? I think he's doing his thing. I think to me it feels very respectful. I understand that he wants to play with his own guitars. It's just feels more comfortable. Maybe along the way he will pick up the Dean guitars he got from Dime, which would be cool. But I totally understand that for the first few shows he wanted to bring his own guitars where he feels comfortable. It's people may forget that he's been doing this like constantly for years, and there's a lot of habits that's hard to come over. So I don't know. I hope these all made some sense. But this is how I feel. I think it's an amazing thing, and it's much better than I expected, which was already good. So kudos to them for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with all of that, because there's so much to unpack, and
yeah,
I think you just did a great job doing that, and I think it's a great thing. I understand, those who maybe don't agree with it, but I think the music belongs to the fans now, and this music, it deserves to be heard by another generation. So I think it's a good thing for the Pantera legacy. Dime and Vinny are never going to be forgotten. Like, they're just so large within the band. They're not just going to get phased out at all. The opposite, in fact, I think. And I think Zakk's done a great job. He can't just turn off Zakk and be Dime or something like that.
I think it's even a better approach that not turn on the Dime, but turn off the Zakk. Is like, for 40 years the world is like yours because of your Zakk Wylde, and it's an amazing thing. So it's just not fair. And
no, I mean, Zakk's been
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's always, if it's going to happen, if the reunion's going to happen, it was always going to be Zakk, and it's going to be Zakk for a reason, because he's Zakk and he plays like Zakk, and that's exactly what he's doing. I like the guitars that he's playing.
But I mean, I can, even that being said, I can see the improvement with certain parts, and he's getting really tight with Charlie, so the whole band is just starting to sound even better. So I think it's a good thing too.
I think it's great. and it's been quite emotional actually watching all the clips and how the fans are reacting, especially down in South America. They're crazy. You know, some of those what's going on in the crowd. It's nuts, and the whole production is great. Phil sounds great.
Better than I think the recent years.
Yeah, and he's not getting a lot of credit for that. You know, people are focusing on Charlie. True. Charlie's doing great, but I think Phil sounds amazing, and you can sort of hear parts of the Phil of old, really. Maybe not the high Cowboys from Hell era, but just the aggression's there. Like, Phil's got an amazing presence. I've seen him a couple of times, and just him on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
intimidating.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I have some memories like that. It's amazing. I think I first saw him like up close on stage at Hellfest, and on my side was Des Fofara. It was like and I saw Phil going on stage, and at some point he was coming towards us with his look, and I was like, oh my God, it's so scary, but it's like, yes, yes, it's amazing. Such a presence. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, and Zakk's got the silhouette, which is a kind of reminiscent of Dime, and there was a photo going around where I
love that photo. That's a pretty cool one.
The silhouette looked like Dime on the speakers. I'll have to maybe post it.
Yes.
It was really cool, and made it all the more sort of emotional because Dime's into what's happening. He's all for it. So
I think so too. Yes, and just in general, people just take themselves and things way, way too serious, and it's like, fuck it. We all live just once, and why not just enjoy it and share the loving part of it. And I think it's about that. So who really cares at the end of the day?
The songs need to breathe, in a live setting, and they're really bringing them to life, and it can only be good for the whole Pantera legacy, which includes Vince and Dime, of course. So,
I haven't sensed anything that would tarnish the legacy at all.
No, nothing. The opposite, in fact. So, so I heard through the week that, I don't know, they sort of mentioned that obviously Zakk, and they also mentioned Mark Tremonti of Alter Bridge was, I don't know how close he actually got to being that potential guitarist, but did you hear that as well?
Yes, I saw the article. Yes.
Don't know. I don't. I
think don't know. He's to me, Mark Tremonti, especially with Alter Bridge, has always been the kind of guy who's just so unique. Again, like one of the really special ones who I can recognize, and everybody, not even guitar players, can recognize, after a few seconds because of his distinct playing with solos and riffs and everything. So I think it would be a very similar case with him too. But I understand his reasons of not being wanting to be the part like that of this story.
Yeah, it's more than just being able to play the songs. It's the whole history with Zakk. He was like a brother to the band.
Yes, I don't know. To me, that part actually, in all honesty, and it's just a personal thing, I think it's a good story, and it's romanticizing it, but not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, yes, it's if they can choose someone who was actually close to him, that's even better, for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not happy with Zakk because of he was close to Dime, but because he, the whole thing is just cool, as it is.
And have you noticed they're playing in different tunings? I think like This Love and stuff is a lot lower.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Do you think that's for Phil's benefit in the vocals, or just the sake of not changing too many guitars over? What do you think?
I think it's because of Phil. Yeah. Because his register got lower. So it totally makes sense to follow him. I mean, normally, I learned this over the years, having my own bands and playing with others, that you have to tune around the singer.
Mm-hmm.
And if it changes and if it's going lower, you have to go lower. It's just, it's just more beneficial and it's just better for the show, for sure.
Yeah.
That being said, I would still want to see more guitars on stage.
Yeah.
With the same tuning, even.
Maybe once
I'll
they
definitely do that.
Maybe once they start touring America.
Probably.
He might just have more guitars on hand. Maybe.
I think so too. Yes.
Maybe he didn't want to bring the dime guitars, along for a long flight and that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many little nuances and personal decisions behind closed doors. Usually, you just never know. It might be something like that. Like he just wants to have them safe. I don't know. To me, it feels that this is just a guess. That it's just more he's used to that kind of neck and that kind of guitar.
Yeah.
The shape, actually, I haven't seen him using too much. I always loved that shape like the most, but he never really used it. And I think that was an intentional thing, because that guitar looks like, it's a Zakk Wylde guitar, but it's also somewhat alike Dime's guitars.
Yeah, it looks like something Dime would use.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know Zakk's guitars, like they've all got names like, Odin and a few other things. I'm not sure which one's which, but I never really gotten into that kind of the not fantasy world, but the mythology and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw Ola's interview with Zakk fairly recently.
Yeah. Yep.
How Zakk sort of admitted to looking up how to play the songs on YouTube. So I reckon there was a pretty good chance that he came across a few of your videos and actually learned how to play some of the stuff from you. What do you think?
I'm almost certain that he came across some of my videos for sure. And it's not even, saying that how good I am or anything like that. I would have done the same if I would have to, quickly or, just learn something. You do these kind of research as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, totally. I'm almost certain that he saw some of the videos, for sure.
Yeah, me too. And,
next time he can shout out.
I hope he at least gave you a thumbs up. And I hope he, maybe subscribe to your channel.
I didn't see any Zakk Wylde's giving a heart for me, but I don't know. Maybe under a different name.
Yeah. I quite enjoy Zakk's Instagram videos of like when he's walking backstage with his little wrestling figurine. Have you seen those?
I don't know. Yeah, I have. I don't know what's that about. I don't know. It's interesting comedy for sure.
It's weird, but it's very Zakk. And I saw a photo, like when he was doing that video, he's got his camera and the figurine, and someone actually took his photo, and it was just very funny. I pissed myself laughing. Yeah. So, did you ever get to see Pantera live?
Yes, I actually did. In 2000, I saw them at an Ozfest show close to New York. My dad took me there with one of his friends, our friends, like family friend, which was an amazing experience. I was 14 at the time.
Wow.
And in the previous year, I think the year before, Pantera was touring with Black Sabbath. And they were playing in Hungary. And I wanted to go there, but they told me that I was too young at that time. So next year, he took me there, which was just an amazing experience. But all I remembered from that show, because it was a whole day we spent there. I saw Soulfly, Static X, Godsmack, I think also. These were the bands I knew and I liked already. And I was super tired. Of course, during the Pantera show, I was like all jumping around and screaming. But two things that I remembered. One was that Phil talked way too much. And I didn't speak any English at that time. I was like, don't talk. I want to hear more songs. and the other thing was Dime's hair. I was so happy that it looked like on the videos, like the big curly hair.
massive.
So yeah, I didn't even play guitar at the time. So, but for me, it was always Dimebag and Phil.
Yeah,
that caught my attention from the very first moment. And then after their show, I fell asleep. So for Ozzy's show, I didn't even remember at all.
That Ozfest was huge. Like, there's a clip on YouTube. I think it's only like maybe 3 or 4 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like towards the end of it might have been the last show of that tour, and Pantera just fucking ripped it. Like, Phil was wasted. Yeah. They were just on fire. Zakk came out at the end with his dog, I think.
Yeah.
And they played Cowboys.
That's a super fun thing.
Yeah, Cowboys, Primal, Yesterday Don't Mean Shit, and maybe one other one. And geez, they were just on. It was just incredible.
Yeah, I remember when that footage came out. I don't think it was. At the time I checked, and I think it wasn't the same Ozfest where we went, but I think it was the same run. So yeah, I didn't see Zakk on stage. I don't even know if Zakk was playing with. I think it was Black Label and not Ozzy at the time. I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't know either of them at the time when I was there.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay attention. I only wanted to see Pantera and some other stuff.
Yeah, I'm lucky I got to see Pantera in, must have been 2000.
Okay.
For Reinventing the Steel
How
tour.
old were you?
18.
18. So
yeah, I
maybe more memories you got?
Yeah. Like I think we were drinking before we went in, so it was just another concert, you know. Obviously we were excited because it was Pantera, but had I known, it would have been the last time, you know, I would have taken it in more, I guess. But all I remember, well, the main thing I remember is I actually went in the mosh pit, you know, right in the middle, down the front, which I don't normally do because I actually just like to sit back and watch the music. But sure enough, I went down, and before I even knew I went down, I was picked back up. You know, they look after you. So, I got out of there after that, and so it was just very loud.
And how about the sound? And I don't know. It's just that, you know, there's so many things that, you know, fans would be interested in to hear from those shows.
Yeah.
What can you recollect?
Oh, it was just loud. You know, I've seen quite a few shows at that same venue, a lot of different bands, and it's not always the best sound in there, depending maybe where you're sitting or whatever. But it was just a buzz to go to it, you know, just with your mates, and the energy was definitely there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just so grateful that I got to go. Yeah. So, but yeah, very happy they're sort of, you know, touring again and bringing the music to the people. Yeah. So,
I think it's cool.
Yeah. So tell us, what's the music scene like in Hungary, and sort of when did you get into it and start playing live gigs and that sort of thing?
So regarding the music scene, to me it feels like in the Western world, it's almost everywhere. It's very similar everywhere. It's just the scale and the you know, the amount of people in the countries that are vary. So for example, in the United States, I don't know, 300 million people, and underground is the same ratio there like it's in Hungary. So in Hungary there's like 10 million people. So it means there's much less people who would come to see shows. That being said, if you're like a bigger act, a bigger band here in the metal scene, you can do maybe 40 to 50 shows a year, including the festivals and everything. So making a living out of that, it's I think it's doable. The scene is, to my taste, not that nuanced, I would say. I never really listened to Hungarian music. To me, I grew up listened to American bands mainly, and some European metal bands for sure. But you can find, you know, everything. There's there's a few like really, really good bands, and they can fortunately function and put out new music all the time, which is really good. There's a band called Lazarus. The U is with the V, actually. They used to call Epi and the P. I can send you some links. It's a pretty cool band. He's actually the singer and guitarist. Used to be our singer in the Pantera tribute band. Actually, my old Pantera tribute band is that band, and their music is just extremely amazing. And the singer is one of the most talented guys I've ever seen. So there's a lot of talent for sure. As you mentioned, for example, with my Pantera tribute band, it's, to me even, it's amazing to see, you know, how we were able to manage to find drummers and singers over the years, and all of them were like extremely good. So yeah, it's just, there's definitely a lot of good musicians here as well. And hope I answered that part of the question. And regarding my background, but feel free to shoot if you have any questions relating to this.
Yeah, like how did you get into guitar? What got you started?
Okay, so even though that I've been listening to metal ever since I was, I don't know, 9 or 10, I remember when I first heard, I think it was, when I first heard Pantera and the official live, that's when I was like, okay, that is amazing. What the noises and whatever I didn't know at the time Dime was doing was like, that's when it really got my attention. But only later, I think I was 14, 15-ish at the time, when I was in a sports camp. I used to kayak, and one of the canoe guys had an acoustic guitar, and they were passing that around. And I managed to play Deep Purple with the coin on one string, the Smoke on the Water riff. And I was so happy that I could do it, because I was not good in kayaking. With my friend, we were better in any sports than them. We just were not able to kayak. So to me, it was also, I used to be even more competitive. So when I realized that I can play this better than them, I was like, okay, this is my thing. Yes, and I think that very same day I figured out how to play Nothing Else Matters, the opening stuff. Like, hey, this sounds like that, like the opening part. And nobody taught me that. That was I think the thing that really flipped me over. And when I got home, I told my parents that, hey, I want to do this. And fortunately, they have been supporting to me all my life. And actually, my dad owns a record store. So he was the one who was bringing the albums home for me. And he also used to play in a rock band. He was playing like a small synthesizer. But his brothers were both playing guitar. One of them actually is a well-known bass player in the Hungarian scene. So it was always somewhat around, but never really pushed. But when I started to play, it was very easy access for me. So I actually got an acoustic guitar, landed from one of my nephews. What's that? The dad's brother, uncle. I'm really bad at that. So I think uncle, the dad's brother.
The dad's
for me,
brother.
Who's that?
So your uncle, yeah.
Yes. So one of my uncles gave an acoustic guitar for me, which I was like, messing around with. But I knew that I wanted immediately when I fell in love with the guitar that I needed the electric guitar.
Of course.
I want to play, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So while I was kind of playing at home with the acoustic guitar, my friend and we started to go to these music stores. And there was one specific where one of the sellers was very, very open and keen for us to show us, his things. There was like a silent room which we could go to, and he was playing for us. I think he enjoyed that he had an audience, and we were, we literally spent hours there. And for me, it was a great learning experience. Like before even having an electric guitar, I was just watching at him, and I remember still up to this day when he did his vibrato, I was like, what was that? Show me that. So soon after, I actually got my first electric guitar, which was a Beast Reach Warlock.
Oh, wow.
I still got the guitar, and because I'm a huge Slayer fan. To me, it was Kerry King and also Max Cavalera.
Okay. And
so I got that guitar, and from that point on, I was just hooked, really. Like the first year and a half, I started to play 8 to 9 hours every day. And very soon I started to learn parts or even later songs by ear. And I don't know, I just I figured out the tunings somehow. I don't know. I was just like, hey, let's look for the lowest note, and I tuned the guitar there. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I don't know. Somehow I figured it out, and when I learned my first full songs, which was, I think, it was either was it Sweet Leaf that Godsmack did on the Nativity in Black album, which was like a Black Sabbath cover album.
Which one?
The second one. It's the opening song.
Which album? Who covered it?
It's Godsmack. Which Black Sabbath song is that?
Godsmack. I don't know. Actually, I never got into Godsmack.
Well, whatever. So it was either that song or Take a Look Around from Limp Bizkit.
Oh, wow.
Which was at the time, for me, it was a guilty pleasure. Because I used to hate rap. Yeah. Now I have like a rap metal band also. But rap, to me, it was like a no-go. Rap and disco and power metal. I always felt power metal was like a betrayal of metal because it was just so silly for my ears.
Yeah.
So when I first learned that full song, then I was like, okay, this is just the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. And also, like very soon, we started to go to rehearsals, like even before we could play with my friend. He had the drumstick, I had the guitar and some multi-effect. And we were always jamming with others and learn stuff from other people. And to me, that part, still up to this day, is the best, to go down to a rehearsal place and just jam.
Yeah.
And I don't know, everything just, after, like step by step, the whole thing turned out to be a career of some. But yeah, I don't know. It was nothing really planned ahead. I never really wanted to do this for chicks or to be well-known musicians. I don't know. It's just, for me, it was super fun to play loud with other people.
Just for the love of playing.
Yeah.
So what's your practice routine? Like, do you have a practice routine? Like, do you have to play a certain amount of hours per day to balance out your mental health, so you're not going crazy?
Yeah, so when I started, as I mentioned, the first year and a half, I was really not practicing. I was always playing. Like whatever I knew, I played. And whatever I didn't know, I didn't really play. So the way I improved was, I think the main factor was, to me, to go down to practice, like rehearsals, and I had to learn like we agreed on a new song to learn and play like a Metallica song, and I had to learn that, and that was, to me, the learning process. Just using my ear, playing something like that, what I could, and at the rehearsals I was improving, and while learning I was improving a lot. And since we used to rehearse and learn a lot of stuff, I think to me, that was the practice routine, just to play and learn new songs, and then later on write new songs. Actually, the technical stuff, for a while at the beginning, when I got hooked to Yngwie and Satriani and Steve Vai, that's when I learned some of the tricks like arpeggios and legatos and whatnot. But I'm sort of a one-trick pony, and I'm still living off of that first year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. So you got into those sort of guys like Vi and Satriani, Ingway.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I definitely I didn't get into Satriani. I got into Vi for a while, and then I went to the concert. I saw him live, and I don't know. I didn't like it. Like, he's obviously amazing, but I don't know. You know, someone like Dime has just got so much heart, and they're so raw, and I just didn't get into that perfect playing. Although Dime never really fucked up, but I don't know. He just had that.
The human element is it's really there.
It was more than technique.
Oh yeah.
And that's not to put Vi down or anyone like that. Like, who am I? I'm nobody. But I didn't enjoy that. Oh,
we're all are.
Yeah. So Ingway is cool though. Like, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, it was definitely Pantera, Slash, guys like that really got me. But yeah. So what's happened with your wrist? Tell us about your wrist. That's the worst thing for a guitar player. My God.
Yeah, silly gym accident. I was doing a movement called Turkey stand up with a pretty big dumbbell, and it just fell through the wrist. It happened in the end of last March. So we had to have a surgery like the next day, which went really good, I would say. But after the surgery, it's not known that it was because of early usage of it, which I should have not done, or just, it just happened like that. But one of the bones moved. So we had, and also there was a tear in, I don't know these names even in Hungarian. So anyways, it had to be stitched back up, and the bone was put back. So now I had like a repair surgery. I don't know how would you say that. So it was a smaller surgery, and even prior to this, with the motoric things, like, so the playing guitar part was not an issue. The mobility thing is that has been a concern, and also it was somewhat painful to play certain stuff. So that's why I had to have this second surgery. But it went really good, knock on wood.
Yeah.
And it feels, and it feels like it went good. So I don't know. I just have to be very patient and do the recovery again. But yeah, it taught me a lot for sure. Stupid accident. It's not even an accident. It was me not paying attention.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man. So is that like a kettlebell or something like that you were using?
It's normally you do this movement with a kettlebell, but at the gym where I was at that day, there was no big kettlebells, and I used like a 40 kilo dumbbell. I don't know. You have kilos there, but
yep.
So like big dumbbell, and that's I lost balance. And I was not paying attention. I wasn't even. I should have not just done the thing on my own. So yeah,
man. Yeah. Like I do some weights. I don't do it very often, and it's often I'm often doing it when I'm pushing myself, like after work, and I don't really feel like doing it, but you got to do it, and there's no other time to do it, and yeah, sometimes if you're not concentrating and you're not quite with it, like I haven't done anything bad, but I've come close. And yeah, I always worry about my just, not being able to play, whether I might sort of pull a tendon or a muscle or something like that. I don't know if it's the best thing to do sometimes for a guitarist, but then you look at guys like Zakk or Chris Broderick, they clearly work out heaps.
Yeah. I mean, I really think that if you consciously do something and pay attention and be aware, just in the present, nothing really like that can happen. And I think even like the working out part, if it's like if it's consciously put together and you do it with an expert and then you learn and you do it on your own safely, I don't think it affects on the guitar playing. And I really like to listen to all these longevity podcasts and all the like being and staying healthy for longer kind of podcasts. And apparently these kind of resistance training is good for all like mental health and physical health and everything. Yeah, with your balance. So, but yeah, you have to be cautious and conscious about how and when you do it. And I wasn't at the time. At the day of the accident.
Man, I'm so sorry. I hope it heals really quick. I can only imagine. Yeah, you must be going nuts.
The thing is that it's not the first of such injuries for me. And whenever I have, hopefully it will become like a past tense. Like any experience like this, it's to me the way I react is always just then I be in the present and just stop, and it feels like this was something that was coming, that was just too much noise around me. And so it's always a good chance for me to learn a lot more about myself. I'm kind of into that kind of stuff. As well, and this one has definitely been probably one of the biggest teacher for sure, because I have the tendency to take things for granted, which includes the guitar playing and just being able to play guitar. And it's not the case. I have to pay attention and do certain sacrifices and not push the limits necessarily or unnecessarily. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Future will tell if I learned the lesson finally.
I think it's a bit of a harsh lesson. I don't think you deserve something like that. But
no. I really so if it heals like 95%, I'm already at the point where I feel like, okay, I learned a lot, and it's I live a better life now. So everything that slows me down gives me a chance to live a better life for myself. At least that's the way how I feel it.
Yeah. Well, sending all healing vibes here from Australia to your wrist.
That I can take.
So you have some nice Schecter guitars. The E1 Custom and the Dimebolt. I don't know what the model of the guitar is, but it's obviously got the Dimebolt.
Yes.
Paint job or whatever. Tell us about those.
Okay, like in particular the guitars or Schecter in general.
Well, yeah, I guess I guess most people might get a Dean in that sort of shape, but you've obviously gone for the Schecter.
Yeah.
How come?
Schecter came under my radar because of Jeff Loomis. After Pantera, to me, it's always Nevermore.
Yep.
And when I first saw him with that black 7-string Hellraiser, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I never liked the super stretch shapes. It's just not my thing. The only reason is Jeff Loomis, and because like the big guitars like that, they look very silly if you put them up here. And with the 7-string, I have to just put it higher. So that really, basically, that's why I don't really like the super stretch. But I've been using Schecters for quite a while, and when I saw the E1 shape coming out, I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, this is amazing. That's me. I can totally see myself in it. I love Explorers. I like the little cuts. It's not too much. The only really pointy guitars which I like is the Warlock and the Dimebag Stealth. Everything too like death metal-ish pointy, to me it's like a little too much. I don't know, not my thing.
Yep.
But this is just for me the perfect combination. So at the time when I got the first one from Schecter, I was touring with Sanctuary and also then with Satyricon. So I had I think it was the standard E1, which is a black one. And it's just everything about this that guitar, the neck shape, the feel, the sound was just insane. So then I got for some tour the custom guitar that you were talking about, which actually, in all honesty, when I saw it on the pictures, I didn't really like it because to me the maple is tops. I like when it's the stripe maple, not the bird's eye maple, or what's the name of it, the foaming one. I don't know. But in real life, it looks, that guitar looks amazing.
Yeah.
And it used to be my absolute favorite until I made it. I installed the Floyd Rose, which was I don't know. I'm getting used to it, but I might not do that again because the guitar was perfect before. But I wanted to have a similar looking guitar to Dime's old Dean, the one that he used in the Walk video, for example. So that's why I installed the Floyd Rose, because I wanted to use that more. So that's that one. And the other one, the Dime Bolt, that you were talking about, is a stock guitar. I think it's the Schecter E1 FR S or something like that. It used to be only in purple color.
Okay.
And it was actually the story behind that guitar was that after the Dimebash, it was amazing that I got a few offers from other companies to work with. Like for example with Ola, we were talking about doing something, which was super cool.
Yeah.
And he actually sent me a guitar, which is another like Explorer shape kind of guitar. And also the same time, Comparison Guitars. I don't know if you're familiar with the brand. It's a Japanese, like still up to this day, handcrafted, super high-end guitars. And I've been a fan of those, even though they super stretch, because of Christopher Amott from Arch Enemy.
Okay.
Now I think he's playing with Dark Tranquility. I don't know. That kind of guitar, the Comparisons have a very specific head, very pointy, and that one I really, really like. So we were talking about doing something either with Ola or Comparison Guitars, and I told the A&R guy from Schecter that I really, really like the E1 shapes, and I've been with Schecter for so many years. I just feel that I want to do these videos more, and I want to just I don't know, push it to another level. And if you are open to do something together, I would be happy to stay. But if not, I'm totally happy to being a part of this. But I just feel that I have to move on, something like that. And they were super cool enough to say that, yeah, let's do something like that. And I knew that at the time that Chewy has already been working there. And Chewy was one of the guys who was making Dime's personal guitars in the Washburn custom shop back in the Washburn days.
Right.
So when I realized that I got a chance to have a custom paint job guitar by Chewy, I was like, fuck, that's it. Okay,
Hell
in.
yes.
Hell yeah. So they told me that they're gonna make a custom paint job guitar, which turned out to be this E1 FRS guitar. And you've probably seen my Washburn Dime Bolt, the Lightning guitar, which I have. Maybe you haven't. It's the original USA Dime 3, the full on amazing guitar, which I got from my parents when in 2001. Like after 1 year, I started to play.
Wow.
And that guitar for me is like, the holy grail in a sense. But to me, growing up and watching the VHS that we're talking about, the Watch It Go videos, the Dime Bolt guitars was always the one with the full-on blue lightnings, and I have the one with the flame maple top.
Mm-hmm.
And when I opened the guitar, and I was like 16 years old or something, I was like, oh fuck, this is the flame maple top. I never told this to my parents, but I was like, yeah, how can I say? So I always wanted to have like the full-on blue one.
Yep.
And so I got the chance to talk Chewy about this, and he made it look like with that exact blue what I've imagined to have. So that guitar is, it's a very special one for me, for sure.
Wow, that's
I don't know. So
awesome.
This is the background story.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that. But yeah, both those guitars are beautiful, and I really like a lot of the Schecter guitars. I've got one over my right shoulder. Not in the quality of yours, but it's the Omen Elite.
I actually really like the Omen series. Like you can grab ones that are really, really nice, especially the ones like before 2008 or something that were like really good guitars.
Yeah, it's really good for the price point. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So were you ever sort of into Gibson guitars and the usual?
Mm-hmm.
You ever into those sort of guitars?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few like Les Paul colors which I really like to watch, especially. And I used to like trade when I was like 18, and between 18 and 21, I had a connection where I could get some guitars and sell and trade, and I was into that thing. So I had I used to own several Gibson guitars, and there's two which I really liked. One was a standard, the Desert Burst standard Les Paul, which I don't know if you're familiar with the guitarist Justin Derrico. He's been the guitarist for Pink for many years now.
No,
amazing guitarist. Just perfect. The great phrasings, great vibrato. I think you would really like him. Okay. And if you got a chance to see Pink live, go for it, man. I've seen her five times. It's amazing. It's a rock show.
Well, I remember when it was probably a few years ago she toured here, and she played.
There's a DVD.
Yeah, she did like 7 or 8 shows, maybe like in the one city.
Yeah, wow.
Something like that. I remember. Yeah, it's like 6, 7, or 8 shows in Melbourne alone. She just kept playing.
Check out that Australian DVD. Check that out.
Okay.
I mean, there's like half a minute or minute long solos in it. She plays a Led Zeppelin song.
Really?
With this guitarist. It's just ridiculous. Really amazing.
Okay.
So yeah, back to the guitars. Yeah, check it out. Right. It's really cool. So Les Pauls I really like, but not necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I used to own a custom, even a Black Beauty, but I don't know. To me, it sounded too rockish. I don't know.
Yeah.
I should have just switched the pickups. But I mean, I would love to have a white one, maybe a white custom, but just to have for the sake of having one. I'm not super into that. The Strats it's another thing. I never really gotten into, but I like the sound. So I don't know. I kind of am narrow-minded when it comes to playing. So to me, it's always been the crazy shapes.
It's whatever feels comfortable, I guess. Yeah, it's.
How about you?
Well, I guess like I had an Epiphone sort of Les Paul. That was one of my first guitars that I didn't break. I had a few cheap.
You didn't
Ibanez.
Break?
Yeah, I used to smash guitars, but they were mostly sort of cheaper ones. A lot of my first guitars I smashed.
Is that a thing?
It's the Pantera videos and watching Nirvana gigs, I guess, and just, it's
so nice.
Stupid. I don't do that anymore, I promise. So, yeah, the Epiphone Les Paul has been with me for like, I don't know, 25 years or something, and, I love that thing.
So you still own that?
Sorry?
You still own that guitar?
Yeah, it's on the rack behind me there.
Is that the white one?
No, it's the... Hang on, I'll grab it.
Yeah. Oh, very thick body.
So
Okay. Wow, that looks very rare.
yeah, I think it is actually.
Never seen anything like it. So that's the body looks super thick.
It is a limited edition.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite thick. It's quite heavy. And I think I changed the pickup out years ago. So it's but yeah, this is like drop C tuning sort of guitar, heavier strings. So yeah, that was.
Which one's your go-to guitar?
Yeah, but I've been picking up a few in the last year or so. Got one of the solar guitars there behind me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yep.
Yeah. So we've got a distributor in Australia, only one distributor.
Nice.
And they had a small range of the solar guitars, and that was my favourite. So I think if I got it shipped in from overseas, it would be quite expensive with all the import taxes and stuff like that. Yeah. So
they're growing so fast, so probably they'll really be more accessible. Now about that ESP, the LTD guitar there, that looks amazing.
Yeah, that's my newest one.
Nice.
Sort of the Explorer shape. It's quite a long guitar, so it feels like at the first fret you're miles away.
Yes, the picking hand is in a different position with these weird guitars. I never really noticed because I'm so used to that. But yeah, apparently it is an issue for some.
I actually I ordered that online because it looks so nice, like see-through black with the gold hardware. And I'm like, fuck, that looks amazing. I've never gone for those sort of shapes. And when it turned up, I picked it up and I played it. I'm like, oh no, this doesn't feel good. Because my hand,
different.
Like you said, my hand had to come in.
Yes. Yeah.
I even went as far as I emailed the shop and I said, what's your return policy? I was going to return it. And then I spent the weekend with it, and now I love it. So
okay, cool. You gotten used to it then.
Yeah. It's still a long way, and I've actually got that.
Yeah. How about standing up? How does it feel when you stand up?
Yeah, that's a bit awkward. That's something I'm going to have to get used to. So, because it's really heavy as well. Like it's really heavy guitar.
I used to love heavy guitars, but now I just no fucking way.
Yeah.
The lighter the better.
Yeah, well the soul is quite light, so it's good to go from the heavy one to the light one. You appreciate the light ones a lot more. But it sounds really good, the LTD. It's got the Fishmans in it, and it's just
how do you like those?
Good. Sorry?
How do you like those? Sorry to interrupt. How do you like those? The pickups?
Yeah, no, they're good. Really, I guess responsive is the right word. Get a pretty good tone out of them, and I've got that in the Pantera D tuning, for like floods and stuff like that. But I think I've got to lower the gauge a little bit. They're probably a bit heavy, especially on a big guitar like that. So yeah, still figuring that one out, but it's a killer guitar and it sounds great. So
what are your thoughts on like the whole gauge thing? Like what's your preference? Well, it feels like it's always been the case for me, at least, that it's a thing for people. Like you have to have a certain gauge of strings to have a certain sound. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I was actually going to ask you the same thing as well. I guess depends on the guitar, depends on the tuning, obviously. So what have I got on the Solar? I think I've got like 10 to 52s on the Solar. That's in standard E tuning, just to play some
standard
Metallica stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Quite thick.
But I don't know, like with the Explorer, with the Phoenix, I brought, I think Ernie Ball, I found a new pack of strings. Hang on a sec. I was going to restring it today, actually, with these. I saw them in the guitar store the other night. The slinky top, beefy bottom.
Oh yeah, it's a 9 to 52. No, it's a different one.
10 to 54.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think
does it have like a wounded, or how do you say, G string?
No, I don't think so.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I was watching one of your videos. What was I learning? 5 minutes alone, like the solo and the bit just before the solo, and I was playing it on the Phoenix there with the current gauges, and especially tremolo picking and bending up that 19th fret on the high E. I'm like, oh fuck,
yeah,
I can do it, but it might be a bit heavy, so I'll try something.
Yeah, and then there's some stuff where you have to bend up 2 or 2.5 notes for Pantera.
Yeah,
yep,
yeah, and sort of the fast bend on the 19th coming out of that tremolo picking bit. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on gauges?
So for many years I was like, fuck, I need the most gain I can get, and I don't care about, because there was like, I was younger and people were like, you have to have thicker strings. And I was like, no, I don't. And to me, I know why it felt right for me, because the kind of stuff that I grew up listening to, like, is mainly Dimebag. It totally makes sense to have. I would actually much rather have a shorter neck with a heavier string gauge, a little heavier string gauge, but a hybrid string gauge where I can bend up the higher notes as well. So. That's another thing I think that relates really a lot with the string gauge is the actual width of the neck was that the scale length.
Yeah.
So depends really on the guitar on the scale length also, but I think you can have really, really heavy sounds with putting on lighter gauge strings. So to me, it's all about the comfort. Especially by this time, but it also has a lot to do with the sound for sure. So if you want to get closer to Dime's sounds and that kind of sound, I like if it's a lighter gauge string, and I also like when it's when you hit really hard the string and it just goes wow, the intonation goes sharp a lot. So I think that's also a color that I like to play with a lot. Even if there's 2 guitarists. But not everyone does. So if you're a rhythm player, I totally understand if you want to put on like really heavy strings, because they sound tighter and cleaner for sure. And the more stiff the neck is, which is another thing that recently I found out how much I really care about. The more stable the guitar, the more clean it sounds. So I don't know. My personal preference, especially if I play like the Pantera kind of stuff, it's lighter strings, not like super light. But I'm actually, especially after this injury, I would like to try an experience with these new lighter gauges, like the 8s and 8.5s, just to see how they feel and how they sound.
So what would that be, like an 8 to 46 or 48 or?
Yeah, I mean, the best would be to have like a really that I will probably experience with the custom gauge, because I like these hybrids when the low strings are really they can be thicker, especially on the 7th string.
Oh yeah.
Even though I'm more of a user of the normal gauges, I would say. For the 7th string, I've been using 68 or 70s forever, and it doesn't feel too bad at all, actually, even with the vibratos. But I don't know. I think I'm in the middle. So I'm not super light, not super heavy.
So
but
what
definitely
gauge?
The hybrid guy.
What gauge have you got on the custom E1?
So if I'm tuned to E or close to E, I put on a 9 to 46, which is like the regular hybrid set, I think. And for the D's standard tunings, or even D flat or C sharp, I would put on a 10 to 52.
So
Actually, this is like...
Sorry, yep.
No, that's all. For the 7 string, I put on a 68.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, because in that 5 minutes alone video, obviously you make the bends look quite easy, and I was wondering what gauge you had on those. So that would have been a 10 on the high E?
Actually, no, it's actually it's a 10 on the high E, but I think my grip strength, and because of the bendings and all that, I'm somewhat strong, so I can do the big bendings even on heavier gauges, but I prefer to have, like, for that tuning, like a 10 down there.
Yeah.
With the 9, I can go over a little bit. I just recently found out that Dime apparently used 9 to 46s for detuning on the Vulgar album, I think. And it makes sense with the sound and everything. Because his control was so relaxed and so smooth. He wasn't, I don't think he was a heavy picker. It was all about the angle of the pick. He angled the pick really a lot. And that's also what helps to achieve that clicky and treble-ish sound. The more angled it gets, it's the clickier and the heavier it sounds to my ears. But I think he was using lighter strings and short scale and all that. It's just perfect control. Yeah.
Do you know what pick gauge Dime used?
Yeah, apparently he was using the very, like, the green 0.88 millimeter.
The Tortex ones?
Tortex, yes. Not the ones, the one below that.
88.
0.88. Or 0.88.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So if I play with... Yeah, it does, actually. It's such a nuance. It feels... It's more of a feel thing, but it feels like the closest I can get with that kind of pick. Maybe it's a mental thing also.
Yeah. I used to use the 88s for acoustic stuff, actually, but I found the ones for electric stuff generally were better for me. But
okay, and is that the regular drop shape?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I just find them probably best for me, just personal taste.
So you've been using that for years, same pick?
Yeah, pretty. Yeah.
I envy that a lot. I have never seemed to find the one for me.
Yeah,
just keep switch.
I guess, like, I was using the 96 Dunlop USA. Just, I do mix it up a little bit, but I tend to go. It's a bit hard to get it clear. I go back to the.
No, I know those ones. To me, it never felt right for my playing, and the sound was not like the Tortex for me.
Yeah.
Just different.
So I'm going to let you go soon.
I'm cool.
Tons of questions, but I'm going to hit you with
some... me if you can. You can edit the video if you want to. Whatever feels good to you. I don't know. How are you planning to put this out? But I still got an hour or so. So don't... If it's up to you, we can end it anytime.
All right, cool. Well, I've got a couple of tough questions for you that I'm curious about, and I'm sorry to ask you these sort of questions, but
no. I like the tough questions.
Well, what is your favorite Pantera album?
Ooh, well, I got an answer to this, and it's somewhat of a cheating, actually. I always say the official live album. To me, I don't know if it counts. If I have to pick an album, I think I can answer to that. But that was the one that I first heard, and actually there's several songs on that album, that live album, which I much prefer over the studio versions. Because of the tempo, because of the, I don't know, it's just the vibe and everything. But if I would have to pick a studio album, first I would say that they're all so different, and I usually pick To the Mood. But if I would have to really just pick one, oh Jesus, I think I would say Trendkill, because of the diversity and the depth, and I don't know, just something about that album for me.
Yeah,
like the most songs I like on those.
Yep, yeah, that's mine too. That's funny.
Nice. That's cool. Not the most common answer to this question, I think.
No, there was just like all the albums have got their place, obviously, and they're all brilliant albums in their own right. But Trendkill for me, it had like it was really heavy, but it also had like this real sort of darkness to it, which probably came down to not being the healthiest point in the band's career in terms of their relationships and that sort of thing. But that album is just so damn heavy, not just in music but in mood as well. And I just love it. I absolutely love it, front to back.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the one that's from front to back is the best for me too. Just the whole journey is just ridiculous. You know, the path that they're going, it's just amazing. Really.
Yeah, it's like how do you make a heavier album after Far Beyond Driven? And they did it. They did it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that the start especially. It's just okay. That's a statement. Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, I mean.
That's also good alarm tone for your phone to wake you up in the morning. I had that going for a while.
Wow. Yeah, it was, yes. Hard to ignore for sure.
All right. So I was going to ask you your favorite Pantera song. Let's start with your favorite Pantera song off The Great Southern Trendkill.
Okay. Never thought of that. Ooh, Jesus. This is a difficult one. Yes. Okay, I'm going one by one. Oh Jesus, this is difficult. Because the thing is that normally, if I can say the official live version, I would say maybe Sandblasted Skin or Suicide Note Part 2.
Yeah.
But then there's Tens, which is like that's such a hidden treasure for me. But it's so mellow. It's just so specific for a mood.
Yep.
Like if I would travel, if I was just in a dark mood or whatever, or if I just want to be in a dark mood, then that's the one. Also Floods. I don't know. Really. Okay. I'm gonna man up and say, oh Jesus. I'm gonna say Tens because of the solo.
Yeah.
I don't like my answer, but I have to say something.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to ask you such a question.
No. I like to think out of the box, and this was one for me. Sandblasted Skin, if I have to say, is one to play live.
Okay.
That's Jesus, that song. Many times we play it twice. So heavy.
What's the tuning for that song? I've never actually looked at playing that one.
Yeah, so if it's a standard like Pantera D tuning, you have to tune down the E string 1 octave lower to the A string, so they are in an octave pair.
Oh, all right.
And super cool thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. Again, one of Dime's just genius. Like in the heat of the moment, I think he just played it. Oh, this is cool. Let's play something. That's magic.
You'd absolutely love to see him work, wouldn't you? Like if you could just be a fly on the wall in the studio, or didn't he write a lot of his riffs like on the toilet? Or that's what he said at least.
Yeah, because that's where my shit comes, or I don't know, something like that. Yeah, I think that's probably true. But many times I think they were writing like or working out and coming up with ideas in the studio, and also live. I think like in between songs when they were jamming or for like sound checks, they were messing around with ideas. Yep. So it's just whenever they got into the mood.
Yeah, he was just an absolute riff machine, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like from every aspect, every level, like the sound, like looking for the specific sounds, like the uniqueness of it, songwriting, riffs, solos, just everything.
Yeah,
it's just a whole package for everyone.
And that's another thing I noticed you do on your channel as well. Like you sort of analyze the way they played some of these songs live.
Yeah,
I think I was watching Cowboys at Monsters of Rock the other day.
Yeah.
And you're sort of playing along with the solo or with the song, and sort of how he changes up the solos a little bit. Which is really cool. Like, you know, when I'm having a few drinks and that, I just like to go down the YouTube rabbit hole and chuck on the Pantera videos, and that gig at the Monsters of Rock in '91 when they played in Russia. My God, that is just incredible. That just gives me chills. You know, domination and stuff. It's just, I mean, they were just.
I mean, so many times I saw those videos.
Because
for sure.
They just finished recording Vulgar, I think, or they were about to finish mixing.
I think they were about to start recording, or they were, I think, in the middle of the work. So during the process of recording it, but I think it was an earlier stage, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and that's what gives like the whole thing another big push.
Yeah,
not too long ago, I heard it somewhere.
Yeah, but they just brought their A game for that, didn't they? Like they just went out there and absolutely crushed it. I just blown away.
I don't know what people felt to see that kind of thing. I mean, probably the 999,000 people back in the crowd didn't see anything, but but still, it must have been an experience for everyone, for sure.
Yeah. However many people there were, they can't actually put a figure on it. I don't think, can they? Like. They actually don't know how many people were there.
Yeah, I have numbers like in between 500,000 and 1 million for Pantera, and then later for like close to 1 million. Just insane numbers.
Yeah,
but to me, it says a lot about the sheer amount of people that, like, I think it was Rex maybe, or somebody from the Metallica camp, one way or another. And they were telling each other, like, did you see how many people? And at that time, Metallica already seen like stadiums of people. And if they were like, what the fuck is this? Then you can only imagine, like, for a stadium band, it's just like way too much people. What?
Yeah, it just seemed to be an endless...
Insane.
Couldn't see the end of people. And I'll tell you what I kind of enjoy sometimes is, you know, the reaction videos that people do. You know, you get these people that clearly don't normally listen to Pantera, and their fans or their YouTube subscribers will recommend a song, and then they chuck on this version of Domination from that Monsters of Rock. And I don't know, it's so stupid that you care what these people think, but I get chills when they react, and I'm like, oh, wait for the solo, watch this.
Yes, like, oh, come on now, it's coming.
It's so
I
stupid.
know, I feel the same. It was like, when I first heard about this thing, that like people was watching other people to play and then to listen to music, I was like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
But then it actually works, especially if it's a genuine one. But you can tell that it's either very good acting or they really listen it to the first time.
Yep.
It's amazing. And I always like how do you say, like, root for them. Like, it's just, I hope they will get it. This is amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, just wait for the solo. And then cuts to Dime. Man, he absolutely ripped that solo. That's incredible. So
always. That's the thing about Dime. It's scary. That's the most scary is that there's not a single video on the internet where he plays, you know, where you feel like, okay, it's there, but it's not 98%.
Yeah.
It's always amazing. And I've never heard anything like that. Oh, especially with the energy that they put in the shows. It's like ridiculous. I don't want to. My old stuff, I cannot listen.
Yeah.
It's even if I play my own shit, it's like, oh, come on, it's horrible. I have some really good moments.
Yeah.
It's like the total opposite for him. It's ridiculous.
You're always your own worst critic, so.
Oh no, trust me. Yeah, but
yeah,
maybe it's I agree that it's the highest standard possible. It's too high for sure.
Yeah,
but it's just real.
He never missed, and on those Pantera home videos, there was one point, I can't remember which, if it was 1, 2, or 3, or he was about to go on stage and he listed off, bottle of Crown, bottle of Jaeger,
bottle of Huervo.
Yeah, still going.
Watch it go. Yeah. Never really. When I was young, I didn't understand what he was saying. Just watch it go, yeah. It's so cool. And then I figured out that what he was talking about, bottle of drinks. He probably drank those. I was like, come on,
yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, and he didn't miss a note. You're right. I never saw a bad gig. And
nothing.
There was. It must have been a podcast or something I was listening to. I can't remember who was telling the story, but Dime was so drunk and still from the night before, they were actually worried that he wasn't going to be able to get on stage and do it. Oh, who was it? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I think it was Rob Flynn, and it was the interview that Ola did with him. And I was going to suggest that interview to you before you brought it up. Yeah, it was an amazing story. Good storyteller also.
He broke Rob's guitar as well. But then he went out and crushed it. So I don't know. Like, I have a few drinks and I kind of lose it,
Then, especially if I get drunk before a show. I used to do that. Like during the show, if I got drunk, I could manage. But I don't know. I actually know one guy who is like Dime, like never really plays bad, and even if he's drunk. But that's, even him I saw, we've been playing together for 10 years. And twice I saw he was like falling off and on the stage. And then he was like 90%. Jeff Lewis, I should probably, I should not say this. Okay, I'm not comfortable to say this, but I'm very happy for Jeff that he's been like 10 years alcohol free. But he used to drink a lot, and I was lucky enough to play with him. And sometimes he went on stage drunk, but he was always spot on. Ridiculous. I've never understood how is that possible. Well, I don't know if it should be in, but I don't, fuck it.
That's okay. Like, I saw today that, was it Rob Halford was like 37 years sober or something like that?
It's amazing, yeah.
37, yeah, something like that. So, yeah, it's good to see when, these guys that obviously hit it hard in their day, and they've come through and...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's a success story, so I'm more comfortable now.
Yeah, that's good. I wonder how Dime would have... whether he would have kicked the alcohol eventually, or
it's a morbid way of think about it. It's just but because he was taken so early, there was room for for not being as cool as he was, but he was just the way he was, and we never got to see the struggling. Really
true,
which probably would have been a thing. That it's nobody can keep up like that. No. So in that sense, perfect story.
It's good to see
the
Phil.
Horrible ending.
Good to see Phil come through it.
Where he's at now. It's amazing. Like. He's just one of those very few ones who, so many times can stand up. And it's just, when I'm pretty sure many people have given up already, still manages to come over and just make it. It's insane.
Yeah.
Insane. For sure.
So, favorite Pantera song overall?
Okay.
Sorry to go back to this.
No. Again, I have a cheating answer. So the live version of New Level for me. But I would say New Level anyways, because that was the first one, and just listening to it and also playing it is just I don't know. It's something about that song.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the live version for me is just the one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now then I can think of other songs, and it's just like, oh fuck, how can I miss that? But yeah, I stick to New Level.
Okay.
What's yours?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I think War Nerve for me is
Okay.
at least my favorite off Trainkill, which is very hard to choose one. But I don't know. There's so many. I guess maybe I should say Becoming, because I remember when I was young in high school, one of the bands, they used to rehearse around the corner from where I lived, and they actually played in the main hall there, and they played Becoming. And I don't even know if I knew Pantera then, but I just loved it. Yeah, look, I don't know. I'm going to stick with War Nerve. Yeah. There's just something about that song for me. So what do you find the hardest song to play? Like, or what was the hardest song for you to learn?
A lot. It's not that I have to think one that it was hard. Oh man, I think guitar playing wise, maybe the Cowboys era was the hardest.
Really?
I think so. So, the solos also, but no, maybe the solos became harder because they became a little less technical, but even more feel, and more like off time rhythms and whatnot, to like really execute it well when you don't feel like it's okay. I hear even the notes are right, but it's not right. I don't know. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, like Psycho Holiday.
Up until this day, I would have said that that is one of the hardest ones. But I actually made a video for the solo, also a lesson, and I learned the entire solo, the song, and the rhythm pattern in the beginning. You need some stamina for it, and also some technique, but it's something that doesn't really include that much of a feel. So in that sense, to me, it's not that difficult. I would say maybe Cowboys in like overall with its entirety, because of the riff in itself is really hard to play right. The solo is extremely hard. Yeah. The album version to play hard. And then there's the pinched harmonic riff at the end, where it's very hard to play the pinched harmonics right. So I think Cowboys from Hell would be maybe in general the most difficult one.
And it's actually quite fast, isn't it? Like, until you start playing along with it, it's actually faster than, that's what I sort of found. Yeah. And
also if you play the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, then you have to be really, it's very hard to play along the drums, and you have to have a good drummer. So that's one of those parts which actually sounds easy, and it's one of the most difficult part to play it right with the upstrokes and with the right tempo. It's really, really difficult.
I love that riff with the pinch harmonics, though, like that sort of.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That's great.
Yeah, almost all my life I played a little different than Dime, or very different. Like over the years, I got closer and closer, and I don't think I have seen anyone to play it like I think Dime played it now, today. It might change tomorrow.
Did you get into the Reinventing the Steel album?
Yeah, so that was the first Pantera album that came out while I was already a big fan. Because I got to know them when the official live album was new. It was my dad who brought that home. So I was expecting, everything and more from Reinventing the Steel. And when I first took a listen, it was kind of underwhelming, but it really grew on me. That being said, when I was scrolling through the albums, I don't think I was even thinking of that album. But still, if I would have to, I don't know. I really love that album, but I wouldn't say that's my favorite.
Yeah,
it's like there's 3 songs that anytime can be on the best of list for me. Anytime, like Goddamn Electric, Yesterday Don't Mean Shit, and Revolution Is My Name. Especially like Revolution Is My Name is one of the best Panteras and metal songs I think ever.
Yep.
So in that sense, like, and also like the end, like I'll Cast a Shadow and it makes them disappear. It's like, oh my god. So there's a few songs which are the best of the best for me, but the flow of it is just it's a cool album, but it doesn't affect me on the way like the other albums. Like with Cowboys, I'm like super happy and I'm going somewhere. It's just a fun album. If I want to go dark, Trendkill is the one. If I want to just be like this, then Far Beyond Ruin or Vulgar is like, oh fuck. Reinventing the Steel is just a great album. I don't know. Is that an answer that you can expect?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, and you're dead right about Revolution Is My Name. Like that song is just absolutely
ridiculous.
Like you could argue it's top 5 best Pantera songs. It'd be in the top 5.
I would put that in the mix of best metal songs ever. I think, to me,
and just the guitar playing, man. Like how many riffs are in that song? Like he's just
right,
and the video and too.
Everything, and it doesn't feel like a collection of riffs. Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense the way it is.
Yeah, you're right.
Insane.
Like, you could argue there's too many parts to that song, but it doesn't. Until you actually think like that, you don't think like that. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I totally understand what you're saying, and that's my only issue about the video clip. It's missing the intro.
Yeah.
This is it's super, super cool and perfect.
But yeah, he does some things on that album that, like, he's obviously becoming a bit more inventive with the way he did his solos and some of the riffs. And
different playing a little bit, yes.
Yeah. But it's just a straight up killer album, I think. And I don't know if it's reflective of the time that it was released, that it didn't sort of take hold.
Not
like
super
the
heavy
albums. Yeah. What was it? 99 album or 2000?
I think it was in 2000.
Yeah.
2000.
So it's
it sounds like a more popular sounding album. Like for that time, I think is that what you're trying to say, like, right? Like
like
going
a lot of
more
things
with the flow.
Like a lot of things had changed by that time. New metal had come in. It was 4 years after Trendkill. So maybe it just wasn't a great time for it to be released, and that's why it didn't sort of have the same effect,
But I mean, in all honesty, literally that was their, I want to say 9th studio album, including the early era with Phil. It's 7th album, or then it's 10th, I think. So, I mean, they've been putting out the best of the best, and just always top the previous one in some sense. And to me, it feels like there was a lot of intentional decisions on the songwriting and whatnot. And I think as a creative person, it totally fits the whole picture. And like every album is different, very different, and still has the same essence. And it totally fits to me into that picture. And I think for many people, that album is like the best of. And I totally understand why they would think that this was their best, because that was the last one that they did. So as a creative person, I totally understand the experience part. And I don't think it was because they wanted to be bigger band.
No.
It's just maybe the like the times affected on them. Like, oh, let's simpler stuff, not necessarily, we don't have to be heavier, we cannot be heavier.
Yeah.
Maybe they could have proved it that they could go heavier than Trendkill, but it's just, impossible to imagine. Although they did it 4 times, but still, it's impossible.
And that had a couple of really killer extra tracks, which I think Immortally Insane and Avoid the Light that didn't make...
Oh, okay. Was the Japanese some edition? Or
yeah, I think
some
Immortally
extras?
Insane was on Reinventing Hell, which was like a best of.
Right. Yes.
And then I think they released that on the 20th anniversary of Reinventing the Steel, like as an extra track, and Avoid the Light and Hole in the Sky by Black Sabbath, a couple of others. But yeah, Immortally Insane and
Cat Scratch Fever even, I think.
Yeah, and Electric Funeral, or was that something else?
That was on the Black Sabbath album I was talking about.
Okay.
That's super cool, that song.
Yeah, Iced Earth did a good version of that too, I think, from memory. Electric Funeral.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And did you get into the other projects from all the members, like Damage Plan and Hell Yeah, Down, the Illegals? Did you get into all that stuff?
Yeah, so I think I was still a like high school teenager when I first heard about Down, and I was like, what? They cannot do anything else but Pantera. I was like that. It's like, no, it's not right. So it was the NOLA album, and I was like, okay, I took a listen, but no, not for me. But this is only because I was a teenager. And later on, when the second album came out, I was like, okay, this is actually good. I like it.
It was a good album, yeah.
Yeah, especially with Rex and his bass sound. I was like, I like that.
Yep.
I like the style and everything. It's this kind of the sludgy, the down music that they created, and that became such a big thing. It never really resonated me that hard like Pantera. And even just after listening to the official live album for the first time, for years I couldn't listen to anything because no, it's not like Pantera. So it was very hard for me to digest anything. And when I found out about the breakup of Pantera, which is at the time it was only in news or articles or like physical newspaper where I could get we could get the news from. So no internet or kind of like that, or very limited. So I was extremely sad and in grief. But when I first found out about Damage Plan, I was super happy. I was more happy for that than before to Down. But I was older, of course, so that changed a lot. And I always felt about Damage Plan that it was like, yeah, I get it. This is something that they are experiencing with. Even the lyrics told me at the time that it was there's a lot of hard feelings and whatnot. You have to release that, take it out, and then you can do something more genuine and So I think the second album would have been more interesting for me. But every once in a while, I still listen to that. There's something missing from that for sure, for me too, at least. And then with Hell Yeah, the first song of the first album, Hell Yeah, I was like, fuck, this is gonna be amazing. I like the tone, I like the songs, I like the singing, everything. So to me, like if I can say just one song of all these things, I would pick that one. Like Hell Yeah, first album, first song. I think to me that was the closest. But still, I like the only a few songs I really, really liked from Hell Yeah. And then the later albums I didn't really know. Not that I didn't care. I didn't care that much to go after, because to me it was already like it's done. Everything. I don't need more. In a sense, and it also took me some years to actually being able to talk about the whole thing. And it's now I'm, it's a much different place where I am. But for many years, I wasn't interested in anything like that. I don't know about you. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, look, I've sort of ingested all the extra projects, and it doesn't reach Pantera. Obviously, it's that was just something extra special that it doesn't come along very often, I don't think. And but I got into all the extra stuff, Damage Plan. I didn't get into Down huge. Like I got into that second album for sure. And I saw them live maybe once or twice, I think. And once was supporting Alice in Chains, which was cool. Ooh. So it was good seeing both those bands together.
Oh yeah.
It took me a while to get into Hell Yeah, but I got into them. I don't think I got into the first album. Funnily enough, I got in. Blood for Blood was probably my favorite.
That was the second album, maybe. Yeah,
I think it was the second album. Yeah, Blood for Blood, and I got to see them live when they supported Black Label Society. I don't know, 2007, 2008 or something like that. So just seeing Vinny on drums again, man, he had the best drum sound, and
identical to Pantera. I saw them too, and it sounds like Pantera. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, and and like you said earlier, way back at the start of the chat here, Charlie has nailed it. And I was listening to a podcast that he did with Chris Jericho. Talk is Jericho. I think him and Charlie are mates, and he was talking about all the extra work that he put in listening for those little nuances, and I think he even sampled Vinny's drum. So when he hits, that's actually Vinny's sound.
So he's using those triggers.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. For sure.
Yeah. So just anything those guys do, I just.
How do you feel about Rebel Meets Rebel? I forgot about that, and that's the one that I was like, this is a different box. I mean, that's such a fun album. I love that. I think it's super cool.
Was it David Allen Coe? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it for a few years, but I'm like, this is Dime's redneck moment for sure.
Yes, it's just pure fun. I think from all the stuff, maybe not Down, but like Hell Yeah and Damage Plan, like that kind of unnecessary anger, or the sad anger was coming through those albums, to me at least. I don't know. And or just the fact that they want to make a point, or they have something to prove, I don't know, maybe that. Because I was thinking that I think for someone who's not a gigantic Pantera fan, I totally understand that Down can be a thing, like a big thing. It's just a very specific sound and vibe and feel. And so if someone comes, from a different background and only hears Down first, then I was like, I understand that why that became probably the biggest of all. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't get into them hugely.
No.
It was a bit, maybe, I don't know, southern. But
Too slow, too bluesy.
Yeah, too bluesy. Yeah. But it definitely had a charm to it, and anything Phil sings on. Phil's just a great singer. Like, not even amazing in terms of his voice, but just the way he approaches songs.
To me, he's the Freddie Mercury of metal. To me.
Oh yeah. Just to be able to come up with, I don't know if you call them melodies, but just to be able to sing over some of these things that he's been presented over the years, like Suicide Note Part 2. It's like, how do you sing over that?
Or Walk. I mean, Walk without Feel, it would be like, super cool riff, but come on, still? Really?
True, you're right. Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah. You know, so Phil always held his own as far as I'm concerned, and
Yeah.
you know, they all did in that band.
Yeah, the four geniuses. It's the match made in heaven for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
For sure.
we could talk all night or all afternoon. What time is it in Hungary at the moment? Like midday or something?
Yeah, it's well. So we're using the 24 hours thing. Do you use that or PMs and AMs? No,
both.
24 hours, right?
I do 24 hours
So
myself.
Yeah, it's a 13:11, so it's
1.
11 past 1 p.m.
Yeah. It's 11 p.m. here, so I think we've got like a 10-hour. We're 10 hours ahead.
But okay, ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Well, thanks, man. I really enjoyed talking to you. It was actually my first of such podcasts that I've done. And
really? Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, man, I was stoked. You know, when I saw a little window of opportunity there for me to sort of invite you on. I don't normally like sort of cold calling people and hassling people to come on, but I saw a little window there.
I would push you to do that with others because you feel and come across like a genuine person, and it's it's nice to talk to you. So yeah, I would definitely push it.
Awesome. Well, it's nice to talk to you, and I really thank you for everything that you do, you know, helping people learn these incredible songs, and you've been a wealth of knowledge for myself. I can speak from personal perspective. Yeah, and the way you present the videos is just really helpful. So thank you very much. Do you want to give a plug, you know, about your YouTube channel and anything else that anywhere else that people can find you?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I wish you all the best too, and thank you for the opportunity. And I think that what you are doing here is something that people would be interested. I mean, I was very happy to see that that you do what you do. And regarding plugs, I would say maybe for guitarists, it would be nice if they would check out my YouTube channel. Maybe it's youtube.com/Attila Voros. It's not the easiest one. Official, like ATTILA. This is, some people misspell it. Most people actually use it with 1 T and 2 L's.
Yeah, me included.
Whereas it's it makes sense because it's the pronunciation. We pronounce it Attila, but it's actually 2 T's. So Attila. Official, Attila Voros, Voros, official.
Yep.
But if you put it in the description, these links will be fine. I got an Instagram channel and all that kind of shit, except for TikTok, which I have to get into. So. Yeah,
I don't know about that. Like, I'm on there and I've done a little bit.
It looks fun, but it just looks a lot of work, and I don't know. It's not much fun for me, but. Who knows? Maybe that too.
Well, I'll put all your links in the show notes.
Yeah, cool.
And I highly recommend any guitarists out there, go and check out Attila's YouTube channel. It's just, even if you just like watching someone play guitar, you know, which I do sometimes. Like, I watched your Psycho Holiday solo thing. I think that was recent, at least on Instagram. It was recent.
Yes,
and man, like that solo, just listening to it. You know, when you're listening to Cowboys, it's like, fuck, that sounds insanely hard to play, and it is. And then just watching you do it, it's like, oh, fuck, that's even harder than I thought it was going to be. So,
actually, one of the quick runs that sounds the hardest is somewhat easier than he normally does. So it's there's always patterns with Dime. Even if he was improvising patterns. And if you learn the patterns, it's much easier to put it together. Still difficult, but it's doable.
So what's... Sorry, we're getting back into the conversation here.
No, it's okay. It's cool.
What separated... I don't know. It's a pretty wide open question, but what separated Dime from other players or other metal players? Yeah.
I think... I would say the timing, how he was playing. It's like nothing was like this. Or if it was very intentional. It always has to do something with the story. Like, for example, the end of Walk, do. That's more of like this. But everything before that is like off the time, all the time. So that's one gigantic thing. His sense of rhythm and time. It's ridiculous. And it's especially if you listen to or try to write a tab or just listen to a tab, that nothing comes across. Even if he plays a triplet, it doesn't feel like that. And also, it's the right hand, the nastiness of the right hand, the noises, that extra information is something that comes from the attitude and not over practicing and something. I think that's what really separates him from others, because especially nowadays people are more used to playing everything super clean, super fast.
Yeah.
Dime wasn't the cleanest, but but it never sounded sloppy. So that's the kind of balance. I mean, I wouldn't say you don't want to over practice something, because it's a weird statement. But for some reason, he turned out to be a genius where he just practiced enough where he could be free and brave to just go for it and just make it sound better than anything else.
What about in terms of notes, like in scales? Like he always threw odd notes in there, didn't he? To me, I really I believe him that he never really knew what he was doing, like the theoretical part, because if you slow it down, some solos just sounds really stupid and weird. But in the context where he put it, it's just amazing. It's amazing color. And also the other thing is that his picking patterns. So a lot of right hand with Dimebag. His picking patterns are very unusual. Like many times he puts the accent on an upbeat before or after. That's also something very distinct. And regarding the choice of notes, which is amazing about him, is that he really was a one-trick pony, like for real. He only had a few scales, few things, but the way he was using those, nothing felt repetitive and boring. Everything feels and sounds different. Yeah. And still, if at least that's my conclusion. If I analyze it and I take it into parts, it's all the same, but they sound different, all of them. They do.
Yeah.
I was going to say something that's escaped me. And just like I think it was the little tutorial video that he was doing for Yesterday Don't Mean Shit. Like the
or Revolution and Goddamn, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Where he was hitting the amp and nothing was working, and he was kind of drunk.
But he was talking about the little Texas bends, I think he called them. In the Revolution. Just those little little hick sort of Texas bends that he was. That he did. Yeah, but just
of course the phrasing is very, even from the early Pantera albums. Just it's time. 16 years old, he had the same style. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's just because I truly get bored with a lot of metal. A lot of metal players. Like they're great and everything, but it's clearly just technique most of the time. And that's not to put anyone down or anything. Like they play better than I do. But Dime, just I never got bored listening to him, watching him. There's just something about him. I don't know. I still can't put my finger on it. It's a combination of things, and that's okay.
Basically, I would think that I think it was because he had the technique, but he didn't play anything to show that he had the technique.
Yeah,
I think he was always control. Yeah. Like it's not because I've been in the place where I learned the trick and I wanted to put it somewhere, and I think many people does that. So if they learn something, a technique, they want to use that, and they cannot let the thought and the inspiration flow. And it's the technique that controls them instead of the other way around. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, just incredible That's all I can say. Thank you, Dime.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pantera. Thank you, Attila. Yeah. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I hope I can meet you in person one day if you ever make it down to Australia.
I really hope that we will do that soon. Yeah, for sure. With some bands, or I don't know, sometimes, for sure. Well, and thank you for having me, man. It
anytime.
Was sincerely nice to talk to you.
You too, mate. All the best with your wrist recovery, and we're sending all our healing powers to you in Hungary, straight to your left wrist, so you can get back into playing again. So thank you again, Attila. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you again soon for another episode of Foxx on the Wire. Thank you very much.
Ciao.